Hi everybody from a beautiful evening and welcome to my latest video. I'm doing the intro from close to the house because there's been quite a few developments in front of me. Tracy Trumpet's looking loads better and I've done lots of work on this top terrace as well, and I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you. So let's just get straight into the video and I'll see you again at the end. The evenings have been really gorgeous lately and I've decided to push on quite late into the night most nights working on this clay. I'm really eager to get it done because it involves lots of tearing my place apart, putting all my crap on my bed, and then reassembling everything. And I do that every day basically. So there's quite a bit of tidy up involved each time I work. And so I like to continue working into the night in order to get more done with less hassle and less destruction inside my house. A lot of the work is going back and pushing the clay back into the wall just to make sure everything is packed in really well. You want it nice and compact because the clay, even though it does have sand and straw in it, it will be prone to shrinking as it dries, and you don't want it pulling away from the wood. That's another reason why I put the nails in, just to help it grip on a little bit better, because obviously the wood doesn't have a lot for the clay to stick onto. And working with clay, as I've mentioned probably dozens of times already, is my favorite material. I absolutely love it. I first encountered working with clay in Nicaragua when I volunteered on a farm, I think back in 2008, and it just kind of grabbed my attention, grabbed my curiosity and imagination, and the reason I love it so much is because it's just like sculpting a house. You can use it like I am on walls, or you can actually use it to build entire wall structures. You can make self-supporting walls that will hold a roof if they're about 40 to 50 centimeters wide. And it just gives you so much freedom. Not only can you sculpt the whole structure of the house, you can also go back and sculpt little recesses. You can put artwork on it, and you can use natural clay paints. It's just such a versatile substance, and it's non-toxic, it's fun to use, it's amazing to get dirty, and to just feel the clay squishing between your fingers as you put it on the wall. And yeah, I really can't stress enough how much I love this material. So if you ever are out there in the world and you encounter some clay, instead of using it for pottery like most people might, try to mix some sand and straw in and see if you can build something with it. There's lots of little projects you can start with, maybe a doghouse or a cob oven is a common thing. Outdoor planters, you'd be surprised at how long the material will last if you perhaps cover it with lime to protect it from the elements, or give it a shelter outside. So it's wonderful. I love it. I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing me use clay on the channel. There's going to be plenty more where this came from. I've obviously been using it inside the house as much as possible, but when I start work on the crack shack very soon, I'm going to be using a lot of clay as well on that, and for projects into the future as well. So it's a glorious, glorious substance, and I really hope that anyone out there that's interested in it does explore it. I'll put some links below. I've done lots of courses over the years. There's many fabulous teachers out there, and so I'll link to some of them, along with some books that I've used along the way, and some places where I've gathered some inspiration for my own building projects as well. And for anybody out there that does find a way to give building with clay a try, let me know in the comments. I would love to know more about what you're working on. But for me, it's just slowly, slowly collecting clay from my friend's place, bringing it back to my place in buckets, and applying it onto the walls at the pace that I can. I would love to get a massive delivery of clay, and Sinead and I are talking about doing that, but for the moment it's going to be just dribs and drabs for whenever I can get motivated to go over to my friend's place, scoop the clay up, bring it back to my place, and then put it onto the walls. So the process is definitely a slow one, but for me it's incredibly, incredibly enjoyable, and I hope you guys are also enjoying watching it. So clay work is well and truly underway, and that's all I have left out of the 3 buckets. And I'm gonna try to get that on the wall before the end of the video, and I'll show you the results then. But before I get to that, I need to use the wheelbarrow for another job. I want to fill it up with compost, human manure, and sand, and mix it all up and stick it onto Tracy and also onto my pomegranate plant. Plus, I have something very exciting in this bag, and I'm gonna stick it into pots using that soil as well. So let's take the wheelbarrow down to the compost pile and load her up. So we'll add a little bit of human manure. Some compost from the shops. A little bit of sand. Some mixy. And then some of this fabulous concoction will go onto Tracy Trumpet, who's not looking so hot. I'm gonna give her a prune as well. But first, let's see what's inside this bag. And the bag is full of lovely succulent surprises that I was donated from my friend Manny and Dina's garden. So thanks, guys. I went out to visit their place for the first time over by Monsanto, and they've got the most amazing succulent garden with plenty of babies to spare. So I'm gonna put all of these little guys into pots, and I know that I can actually break off pieces and reroot these. So I'm gonna try to make 3 of each, maybe 4 actually, so I can share with friends and spread the love, because succulents are just absolutely wonderful things, and I eventually want to have a succulent garden up in front of the house, and apparently even that will root if I stick it in. That's one that just sort of fell off onto the ground, and this one as well. So I'm gonna try, keeping these guys alive and hopefully passing them on to friends so that everybody can benefit from Dina and Manny's generosity. Okay, the succulent babies have been repotted. These ones are gonna go to some friends. These ones are gonna stick here, with some going down to Sinead's place whenever she's ready. And I actually have quite a few other succulents that have gotten really quite big over the years. I quite like this one. It's got some flowers here happening. Got this gigantic aloe vera. Don't know what this one is. That's pretty cool looking. And I really like this one as well. And I think this one flowers at some point too. I'm not really sure. But I do love a succulent, and one day I'll have a whole garden filled with them, and I'm excited for that time. But right now, let's get back to Operation Tracy Rescue. This soil is going into this sad-looking soil to hopefully bring this sad-looking Tracy back to life. Oops, I meant to make that cut there, but missed it. But that's okay, because she's a crazy tree, and I think she needs to be cut down a bit to help the rest of the plant. So let's see. I really do want to encourage Tracy to grow upwards. off of maybe 1 or 2 main stalks at the bottom. But right now she's looking pretty nuts down there, so I'll leave it for another time. And for the moment, I just want to chop back some of the long stuff, some of the overlapping stuff, and some of the stuff that looks really crappy and dead. And hopefully that helps with airflow, and hopefully it encourages more growth and happiness from Tracy. I think I might take off this branch here because this one is looking happy and healthy and it's going more in an upward direction. So it seems drastic, but I have my reasons. Where else can I chop? I think I'll probably end up taking this one off as well eventually, but I'll leave it for the moment. And I'll get this one because it's growing inward. But I think that's fine. Let me just top this guy over here as well because it's getting a bit spindly on this end. So let's chop it there. And chop this one here. And yeah, I have some confidence that Tracy will be happier after this little haircut and after some luscious, lovely soil goes in there. And I'm gonna mulch Tracy, but I'm gonna use olive prunings, and I'm not getting to that today because I have some other stuff on this evening. So I'm gonna basically cut off all the suckers. I'm gonna tackle this tree and that tree, and it's gonna give me lots of lovely olive branches to chop down to size with the tool of joy, and I'm gonna put it on Tracy and also on my pomegranate as well. But that's a job for another day. Right now I've got some other things to do, so I'll say goodbye from this slightly overcast but fairly mild evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for some more work on the clay and out here in the front of the house. Hello from a brand new day. It's a little bit overcast but still beautiful and mild out here. I just wanted to point out the beauty of my plum tree in full flower. It's amazing. And right now I'm going to tackle these olive trees, which have been sorely neglected, especially this one and that one over there. This one I actually pruned a couple years ago, and I did it quite brutally, and it looked sort of horrible, but it's come back to life in a really nice way, and it's regaining its shape, so I'm happy to see that. It gives me some confidence in my sometimes dubious pruning abilities. So I'm going to start down here getting the suckers off. I'm going to give this a little bit of a trim, and then we're going to work on this big one over here, and then eventually the other two, and hopefully I can totally transform how this top terrace looks without too much effort. All right, let the transformation begin. So getting the stuff on the bottom is definitely pretty easy and enjoyable. That tree is going to be a menace to do. I'll probably have to get up there with the saw and the ladder. But before I get up on the ladder, I want to see what I can get to with the tool of joy on a stick. This is going to make everything a lot safer. I won't be hacking down entire branches. I'll hopefully be able to trim off the top parts. and it'll just make everything a lot easier once I get up onto the ladder. I'm gonna eventually want to bring this tree down to the same height as this tree, so it's all gonna be pretty drastic, but I definitely want these trees to be small so I can have more of the beautiful view in front of the house. All right, let's do this. Sometimes you can nibble at the thicker branches with this and just kind of take little triangles out and get the branch down that way. But it is a little slower and it can be tricky. You gotta get the angles right. There we go. Come on. Almost there. Woo! Whew. So that last one was pretty tricky. It's surprisingly tiring holding this thing above your head, and it's very hot out all of a sudden, quite humid. So I'm gonna get changed, have some lunch, and then I'm gonna come back at this with the ladder and the saw. But so far I think things are going pretty well, and I'll see you guys after lunch from within the tree. Okay folks, lunch has been eaten. A layer has been removed underneath this jacket because it is kind of hot, but not so hot that I can go t-shirt only. And I have this serious chainsaw, mini chainsaw, out so I can tackle some of these really thick branches. So I already know that this is going to be a pretty drastic prune, so if that makes you uncomfortable, look away now. But I'm confident the tree will be fine just based on other pruning that I've done in the past. And I really do want to bring this down kind of to this level to be in line with the other one, as I've mentioned before. And it basically means lopping off a lot of these really thick ones that go vertically straight up. I think this is a tool for the job. It's not so good when you're trying to chop firewood or something that's not already attached to a tree, but when you're trying to lop off branches that are held on by the tree itself, it's really good. And I hope it allows me to get in and take off some of this thick stuff that I can't get to with the tools of joy. So let's give it a try and see how we go. Straight through, really easily. It's a very powerful tool, nice clean cuts, and I think this is gonna really help me make pretty quick work of this tree. Plus, I'll have lots of nice chunky bits for firewood next season. Okay, as I said, definitely pretty drastic, but I know it's going to be a much happier tree next year. So I have a few larger branches to chop off, like this one there. There's one behind there where the ladder's in the way. There's another one up top that I think I'll get. And then over on this tree, I basically think I just want to clean out the middle a bit more and possibly tidy up a little bit of that stuff there. And then we'll go over here, and I'm just going to carry on shortening the trees and giving them a really, really hard prune, because there's no point having olives way up there. They're impossible to reach, and I really would like this top terrace to be a little bit more under control and have trees so that that are short enough that I can sort of see beyond them. If you want to look at some crazy pruning, if you feel like what I'm doing is kind of nuts, take a look at these trees. There's all kinds of different styles for pruning, and this one at my neighbor's place is one of the crazier ones, where you've got all these empty branches in the middle, and you just have this sort of the leafy bit hanging down where the olives will grow. So you don't have any shoots going up straight, and that can be good, but you end up with these sort of weird looking, I don't know, crazy reverse spider looking trees or something, and I think they look pretty bad. I definitely prefer the trees over on the neighbor's place at the other side, which are really small. They've been kept very nicely under control, but they've done it in a way that actually makes the tree look good as well, whereas these ones, I think they look kind of crazy. So let's just take a little wander over to the neighbor's place, and we have, yeah, just little small trees that are under control, and they also don't have these branches going directly up. So I think it's my aim to replicate what they're doing over here, get rid of all the branches that are going straight up, and let the rest kind of work itself out, and hopefully a shape will come to me over the years as I focus on my pruning and learn a bit more. Something that's cool over on this tree is that it actually had been pretty sick for a while, and what they did was they put this stuff around it, some tape, and they basically taped on some small shoots and filled the top with soil. And this shoot that's gone up right here actually started as a small little stick. So it's quite interesting to see what you can do with olive trees and how incredibly hardy they are. They really are a magnificent tree. I absolutely love them. And even though I've sort of brutalized this one, I'm confident that it's gonna be looking good by the time the end of the summer rolls around. Okay, so that's enough talking about olive trees. This is where we're at. We've got this one looking a little crazy still, that one needing cleared out a little bit in the middle, and these two are looking absolutely nuts. And my goal is to finish all this work today. So this is where I'm at. I'm gonna put the camera away, and you'll see me soon, hopefully, with a lot of olive prunings and some much tidier olive trees. So I didn't get quite as much done as I would have liked. I wasn't chilling out like this little guy, enjoying life. I was working pretty hard, and my focus was dealing with the olive clippings, which were about twice as much as this, if not more. And I put them hand chopped with the tool of joy onto my pomegranate tree as mulch, and also onto Tracy Trumpet, who, after just a couple days, is looking so much better. So under there we've got the compost that I added, and I've also put a layer of cardboard. And yeah, I think she's gonna look a lot better very soon. I hope so anyways. So I didn't get through as much of the tree chopping as I would have liked. A lot of these ones are gonna involve the ladder and the chainsaw, and I just don't really have the energy today. I got to stuff on this tree with the tool of joy on a stick, and yeah, I created this mountain of future mulch. And so what I've been doing is chopping it with the tool of joy, basically taking all the wispy stuff off and using that as the mulch, which I'm going to continue to do, rather than having a burn pile. I don't really like to do burn piles. Currently I'm being smoked out by my neighbor's burn pile. It's definitely the season to be pruning olives. And I always prefer to chop things up and use them as mulch where I can, or as kindling. But sometimes I'll do a burn if I'm feeling lazy, if I just want to get rid of things quickly, or especially if I have loads of brambles and other stabby things lurking within the pile. I'd much rather incinerate them than encounter them again later on in my compost or in mulch, where they have another chance to attack me. So it's been a really busy, full-on, but very enjoyable day, and pretty productive, I think, as well. The skyline of my property is definitely changing drastically, and I think it's eventually going to look better. That tree obviously looks a bit sketchy right now, but I have hope for it. And yeah, these will come down, and I think it's just all going to look a lot happier, healthier, and I'll have a much nicer view. And Tracy, as I mentioned before, is definitely looking a lot better than she was. And my final task for this day is to get this clay onto the wall. And this is going to be my last batch of clay for the foreseeable future. So things are coming along very nicely with the wall, but I definitely don't have enough clay to finish it off. I'll load up another batch at my friend's place soon. But for the moment, I'm just going to focus on getting this bit on and then moving on to other stuff, because I have carpentry to do here still, and I have the crack shack that I want to get started on outside as well. So this is where we're at with the wall. Let's get this wheelbarrow on and call it quits on this job. Okay, this is the last little bit for the foreseeable future. I can go and get clay anytime I feel like it. It's just that I have too much else on at the moment, but I would really love to get this wall done completely so I can start thinking about a wardrobe for my clothes, because my current clothes situation is pretty dire and quite disorganized. So the final thing I want to do is basically do some cross-hatching. First, I'll say hello to this little guy. How's it going? He doesn't like that, or do you? Supervising, eh? I don't feel like he's massively impressed with me bothering him with this tool. So let's use it for its purpose and scratch some cross marks in it, and this is basically, so the next layer, which is likely to be a clay plaster, a fine clay plaster, so it'll be a mix of fine sand and sifted clay and possibly have a pigment in it, just so that it sticks better if I put these in. So it's also really quite satisfying to do. And it lets me talk about my future plans, I suppose. I love clay, as everyone knows, and I'm gonna have as much clay on the walls as possible. It's just amazing for controlling humidity. It's easy to work with. It's a free material if you can find it. And I've never done any final clay plasters. I've never used pigments, but it's definitely something I'm gonna be looking forward to. It'll be a massive learning curve, and so I'm gonna do all the final plasters way at the end of this build. So it'll be one of the final things that I ever do. Final things I ever do. It'll be one of the last things I do in the house, and that's because I'm gonna wanna practice. So I'll likely practice some final plastering on the crack shack and in other places as well, and try to become a little bit more expert at it before I tackle large walls like this. However, this one is going to be behind clothes, so it probably is going to make a good practice spot. Anyway, so I'll be back finishing up these hash marks in a minute. Still a little bit more to do, but I think that's looking really good. What do you guys think? I've got two supervisors up here now. How's it going, Larry? It's very rare that these guys are up here together. It's like there's some kind of a traffic jam. Are you trying to get past, or are you just hanging out by Mikey's butt? He's just hanging out by Mikey's butt. They both look like they're having a good time. They've been supervising me. Think I'm doing a good job? I thought so. What about you? Agreed. Cool. All right, guys. You enjoy the rest of your evening. And I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my evening as well. I'm not gonna be as lazy as the cats, though. I'm gonna deal with that insane pile of olive clippings and see if I can chop as much as I can down to size tonight before I get tired. But before I say goodbye, the moon is doing something quite spectacular that I want to show you. Well, maybe it's not quite as impressive as it was a minute ago when it was up in the sky a bit further. I don't know if you can see that, but we've had a lot of haze lately. I think there's some sand blowing in off the Sahara, which isn't uncommon. And the moon was looking really, really cool a minute ago. I think it's full, and there's just a kind of spookiness to the evening, but it's really nice out here. And I just wanted to show you guys that. So my plan is to basically try to work my way through the gigantic pile of olive branches, and it looks like the cats are back out to supervise. Larry, just there. Mikey is somewhere over here. And they seem to be having a good time hanging out in the olive tree. Oh. You liking this? They don't usually hang out with each other, so it's always fun when they seem to be happy to share the same space. Larry loves Mikey. Mikey is a little bit indifferent to Larry, so it's kind of a funny dynamic. All right, little guy, he's going back to the olive branches. You have fun in there. Something new for you to explore. And rather than talk to the cats, I think it's time to say goodbye from this video. So it's been a fun few days. It's been productive. I ended up with some baby succulents. I got some more clay on the wall. I tended to my trees. Hopefully Tracy's gonna be okay. And yeah, it's just been a very fulfilling few days. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And I'll see you in the next video.